Well, I'm at a point with this truck where I'm figuring out a few things that might need to change over the course of the next 2 or 3 years. At this point, the suspension is riding pretty rough. The torsion bars are way oversprung, so I would love to get something a little bit softer, actually. Probably what I'm going to be doing is replacing the Ironman torsion bars with factory landcruiser torsion bars and re-indexing them, and hopefully that gives me enough lift to get the ride height correct on the front. So that's the plan there. Still figuring out a few kinks with the big slack skid plates. They're over there hanging out. Some of the modifications that I have had to make are vehicle specific to my setup, so I can't really talk about them universally yet, but I can say that it's a very interesting idea. It's an extremely unique design, and I'll be testing them out for the next few months to give those guys a little bit more feedback. On the front end, I'm still running OEM axles. This boot is actually cracked. I'll have to change my shock setup as well, because these are just not cutting it. The Ironmans don't have enough damping power, and it doesn't really help that I'm oversprung. So oversprung and underdamped is a pretty rough ride combination. Yeah, I think the build is going along pretty well. I just need to keep refining it, and it's kind of exciting to me that there's still a lot of work to be done. I hate getting to a point on a project where you feel like everything's been done, because then it, what is there left to do? So, lots more to do, which is good stuff. The Ironman power bank has actually given me some interesting ideas about how I'm going to change my whole power setup. I've had some, I think it's 6 gauge, maybe even 8 gauge, I don't remember. Whatever it is, I have this massive cable running from my starter battery back into the back here, and that's going to a 60 amp breaker with a Blue Sea fuse block, and I like this setup. It's pretty safe, but I think I could make it even safer if I basically just ran some very small gauge, like 14 gauge or something like that, just to power the power bank, and I used that to power the refrigerator. Right now I have it plugged into AC power on the power bank, and I have it plugged into 12 volts on the starter battery, which goes to the Blue Sea fuse block. And I think at some point I'm going to change this out so that it's only running off of AC power from the power bank. That way I never really have to worry about it running the starter battery down. Yesterday I had to jump the truck off because it had actually run it out. So that would be a change that I'll probably be making, and it would just help me clean up a lot of this wiring mess. It's not that bad, and it is safe, but it's not that pleasant to look at. So we'll see, but I might actually be downgrading this fridge to something smaller. The IceCo has worked for me very well, but it's just so big, and there's a lot of space that I think I'm missing out on. If I downgrade to something else, it might fit my needs a little bit better. Another update. So oh, look at there. There's your big slack trailer. Kind of nice. For my mother's 98 LX. Oh, and don't bother with the mattress and stuff. At this point, I've still got the interior pretty much stripped down. The next step in the process is to recover her seats with new leather. I have not yet ordered those covers, but as soon as they get in, I'll be taking care of that. The other part of the process is just cleaning all the panels and putting those in. So slowly but surely it's going back together. I put in a new sunroof for her that in theory works. So that was a bear, but it's going to be worth it in the long run. And that way I don't have to worry about leaks and stuff. I can actually maintain it and keep it orderly. But yeah, it cleaned up well. My sister got a 3rd gen 4Runner. This is a 1997 4-wheel drive with a rear diff lock. It's pretty nice, but she's going to be using it to drive across the country to California for her new job. So I've been changing a few things. You can see there was some front end damage at one point, so I'll be adding a little, basically a spot for a light bar because the headlights suck on this thing. New grill came in today, so that'll go in. I guess this is sort of the project overview, but the garage is somewhat of a mess right now. I'm doing my best to help clean it out for my dad, but I've got this is a 2003 front diff. That's going to Matt Bowling. Pulled this out of a 2003 Land Cruiser in a junkyard. That's the front diff that came out of my mom's truck, and I have another one in there. Probably going to swap that into her truck since it's got less miles on it. Over here we've got the whole transfer case issue. So her truck, this is the T-case from it, and I mean, it's just way too loose. I opened this thing up and automatic transmission fluid fell out. So somebody put the wrong kind of fluid in there, and I'm gonna swap it out with, this is the T-case out of that same 2003, and it looks like it's in great shape comparatively. So just gonna bolt that back on, throw in the front diff, and it should be good to go. As if I needed any more changes made to that truck, I'm actually modifying. This is the rear axle out of my 99 LX, the white one. This had an LSD in it, but I'm modifying the case. I've actually cut out a section right there. I'm modifying this case and putting in a locked rear third member. So this is the LSD out of my 99. This is the locked third. I don't remember what year this came out of, either a 98 or 99, but Jess Mooney gave me this, so thank you, Jess. And you can see the locking mechanism right here, but I need a little bit of clearance in the case, or in the axle case, so that's why I cut that out. But pretty interesting stuff happening. To be clear, I'm putting in a rear locker into my mom's 98 Lexus. She will probably never use it, but I just want to do it for the sake of doing it because I think it'd be awesome. And you know, it also artificially increases the value of the truck, so that's pretty neat. But it'll be joining us at Cruisers on the Rocks 3, which is in October. So late October, I'll be at Cruisers on the Rocks with my truck, and hopefully the 98 with 400 12,000 miles will be there as well. It's going to be an interesting event. Speaking of Cruisers on the Rocks, this is a bit of an announcement for our whole group, but we're going on the East Goes West trip again this year. For people who don't know, last year we went on a trip called East Goes West 2022, which is, it was a group of a couple of our friends put together by Lee Sumner, and he wanted people to experience Silverton, Colorado, and then we went over to Moab. It was an absolutely, I mean, in a way for me it was sort of life-changing. I wouldn't be where I am now without that trip, and to be able to go again is a really unique experience. But I won't actually be taking my truck. This year I'm actually going just so that I can capture everything on video and get it for everybody on camera, so everyone who's going to be there will have that footage and be able to remember the whole trip. So that's super exciting. But for people who are interested to get that same experience next year in 2024, Lee is hosting Cruisers on the Rockies. It's the first ever Cruisers on the Rockies. It's going to be in Silverton, Colorado, and we'll be out there, I think, for a week. I'll be a trail leader there, and yeah, I mean, it'll just be a heck of a time. I don't know what that means for the East Goes West annual trip, but regardless, it'll be a heck of a time. And then again in October every year there will be the Cruisers on the Rocks here in Tennessee. So I'm looking forward to the years to come. We've got some pretty cool stuff coming up, and I'm really excited to get into all that. For now, I've got some mail here that I was going to open, and there are a couple of videos that I'm making about the 98 LX, especially, so I'm making an entire interior trim teardown video, so that'll be coming out while I'm on the East Goes West trip, and I'll probably be sort of out of communication for like a week or maybe more while we're out there, but it'll be an interesting time, and I'll get all sorts of awesome footage for that trip. But for now, it's time to open some boxes. There you go. I guess, yeah, that way. A warranty. Cool. I bet that's cables. Yep. That's pretty wild. So I made that video about the Iron Man power bank, and I think this company I think this company wanted me to make one of theirs. So maybe I'll chuck it at a tree or something and see if it actually holds up. I'm gonna have to use this a fair amount before I can actually give any of my thoughts about it, but you know, 2 USB-C, 2 USB-A. There's a light. That's interesting. It must not be charged. 120. 12 volt sockets. Kind of nice. And oh, I guess this is the input port. Yeah. Circuit breaker, AC input. Kind of nice. Kind of nice, very nice. we'll see how this one compares. Oh yeah. So, I don't know. Weight-wise, they feel about the same. In terms of size, it looks like the all-power is slightly smaller. Iron Man is a 500 watt. I think this one's a 600 watt. Interesting. Okay. Well, that pretty much wraps it up for this one. I'll be in Silverton in 2 weeks, so until then.
Let's go on an adventure in the Toyota Land Cruiser.